Everyone tells you to diversify. Your financial advisor says it, CNBC says it, your uncle who has a 401k says it. Spread your money around. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. It sounds so obviously correct that almost nobody questions it. But here's the thing. Nobody says out loud, diversification is a strategy for preserving wealth, not building it. And if you're not already wealthy, you might be using the wrong tool entirely. Think about the wealthiest people in history. Elon Musk put almost everything into Tesla and SpaceX. Jeff Bezos bet his entire net worth on Amazon. Warren Buffett built his fortune by concentrating in a handful of businesses he understood deeply. These are not diversified portfolios. The math is simple. If you own 500 stocks and one becomes a 100-bagger, a stock that goes up 100 times, it barely moves your overall portfolio. But if you own 10 stocks and one does that, you just changed your life. This is what they don't teach in personal finance class. Diversification kills your upside. The very act of spreading risk across everything means you can never capture outsized returns. You get average results by design. Now, before you light the comments on fire, I'm not saying diversification is stupid. It's not. It's genuinely smart if you're trying to protect money you already have. The problem is when middle-class investors use a billionaire's preservation strategy when they should be using a builder's growth strategy. Let's go back to basics. Diversification was formalized by Harry Markowitz in 1952. He called it modern portfolio theory. The idea: combine uncorrelated assets to reduce volatility without sacrificing returns. A Nobel Prize-winning idea. For institutional investors managing pension funds, endowments, sovereign wealth funds, these entities manage billions they absolutely cannot lose. Volatility is the enemy. For them, diversification is survival. But you're not a pension fund. You're a person trying to build wealth from scratch. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The finance industry profits from your diversification. Every new fund you buy, every index product you hold, every managed account you open, someone takes a cut. The advice to spread your money everywhere is also incredibly convenient for the people selling you all those products. Charlie Munger, Buffett's longtime partner, called diversification diversification. His words, not mine. He believed that owning too many things dilutes your best ideas with your mediocre ones. You end up with the average of your judgment, not the best of it. Think about it this way. You spend months researching a company. You understand the business model, the management, the market, the competitive moat. You're as close to certain as you can be. Then you put 2% of your portfolio in it. Why? If you're right, it barely matters. Buffett himself has said that if you truly understand what you own, you should be comfortable putting 20 to 30% of your net worth in a single position. That's not reckless. That's conviction. There's a big difference. Now, the counter-argument is real. What about risk? What if your concentrated bet goes to zero? And yes, that's a valid concern. Concentration amplifies losses just as much as gains. This is why concentrated investing only works when paired with deep knowledge. The mistake most people make is thinking there are only two options: diversify everything or gamble on one stock you found on Reddit. But there's a whole spectrum in between. A thoughtful, concentrated approach based on genuine understanding. Here's how to think about it. There are really 3 stages of wealth building. Stage 1, accumulation. You don't have much. Every decision matters more because you're building from a small base. This is where concentration can create life-changing results. Stage 2, growth. You've built a meaningful base. You have capital that can generate capital. Here, you start to balance concentration with some protection. You can't afford a catastrophic loss, but you still need real growth. Stage 3, preservation. You've made it. You have real wealth. Now, diversification makes complete sense. You're no longer trying to get rich, you're trying to stay rich. The goal has changed. The strategy should too. The financial industry pushes everyone into stage 3 thinking, regardless of where they actually are. A 28-year-old with $15,000 in savings and a diversified mutual fund is using preservation strategy during accumulation phase. That's a mismatch, and it costs years. Let's talk real numbers. The S&P 500 has returned roughly 10% annually over the long term. That's good. That's genuinely good. But if you invest $10,000 at 10% per year, in 30 years you have $174,000. That's not generational wealth. That's a nice nest egg. Now take that same $10,000 and compound it at 25% annually, possible with concentrated high conviction investing if you get good at it. And in 30 years, you have $8 million, same time horizon, radically different outcome. The return rate is everything. And yes, 25% compounding is hard. It's very hard. But it's also what people like Peter Lynch achieved 29% annually in his Magellan Fund over 13 years. It's what concentrated value investors consistently outperform index funds with. It's achievable, just not with 500 stocks. Here's the other thing about index fund investing that nobody wants to say. When you buy the index, you buy everything. The great companies and the dying ones, the innovators and the zombies. You're paying for the whole ecosystem, including the losers. Studies show that the top 4% of stocks account for all of the net wealth creation in the U.S. stock market over the past century. Every other stock, on average, returned less than treasury bonds. You're banking on finding those 4%, which is exactly what concentrated investors try to do. So what does smart concentration actually look like? First, it's based on understanding, not tips. You invest in companies you can explain their revenue model, their competitive advantage, their path forward. If you can't explain it in 5 minutes, don't bet big on it. Second, your circle of competence matters more than anything else. You don't need to understand every industry. You need to deeply understand a few. A software engineer who concentrates in tech companies they genuinely understand has a massive edge over someone following generic advice. Third, position sizing is where discipline lives. Not every high conviction bet gets 30% of your portfolio. You have tiers. Tier 1, your highest confidence, fully researched positions, maybe 15 to 25%. Tier 2, solid ideas with some uncertainty, maybe 5 to 10%. Tier 3, speculative with small bets, under 3%. Fourth, you're not locked in forever. Concentrated investing doesn't mean you buy and never think again. It means you stay close to what you own. When the thesis changes, when the business changes, you act. You're an engaged owner, not a passive bystander. Now, here's where I want to address the biggest objection. Most people aren't capable of picking winning stocks. And honestly, that's fair. Stock picking is hard. The research shows most active fund managers underperform the index. So isn't diversification still the right default? Here's my answer. For people who have no interest in learning investing, yes, index funds are better than nothing. But the solution to not knowing how to pick stocks isn't blind diversification. The solution is learning, or concentrating in what you already understand from your own career and life. Think about what you already know professionally. A nurse understands healthcare companies. A supply chain manager understands logistics businesses. A retail worker understands consumer behavior. You have edges you're not using because you've been told to hand your money to the professionals instead. Peter Lynch called this invest in what you know. He argued that everyday people spotting consumer trends early, seeing a restaurant chain exploding in their city, noticing a product flying off shelves, have a genuine edge over Wall Street analysts sitting in offices in Manhattan. Let me be direct about what I'm actually saying. I'm not telling you to put your rent money on one stock. I'm telling you that if you're in your 20s or 30s, accumulating wealth from scratch, and your entire strategy is a diversified fund because your financial advisor said so, you might be sleepwalking through the most important financial decade of your life. The wealthiest people in the world got there by concentrating when it mattered, diversifying when they had to protect what they'd built. They understood the phase they were in. They used the right tool for the right job. That's the whole game. So the next time someone tells you to diversify, ask yourself one question. Am I trying to preserve wealth or build it? If you're preserving, diversify. If you're building, get focused. Find your edge, understand what you own, and size your bets like you actually believe in them. Diversification isn't wrong. It's just not for everyone, at every stage, all the time. The financial industry wants you to think it is, because a passive, diversified investor is the perfect customer. But you're not trying to be a good customer. You're trying to build wealth. There's a difference. And knowing that difference might be the most valuable financial insight you ever have.